one of the things that we deal with the most on this youth sports journey is the subtle and sometimes not so subtle pressure parents can put on their kids as they play. So, in your experience with all the things you've done, how can parents tell the difference between healthy encouragement and subtle pressure, especially when that pressure feels like it's coming from a good place as the parent? And I think another way to ask this might be like, what kind of support actually helps kids grow versus what kind adds noise and stress?
Yeah, really good question. I think for me, when my daughter is old enough to go and play sport, my job as a dad is to be her biggest supporter, is to be her biggest fan on the sidelines, and not to correct, not to advise. That's ultimately up to the coach if they feel like they need to step in. As a parent, you have to be there to support your child through their journey, whatever their journey looks like. And I think there are subtle things that parents can be aware of and can do. So on the sideline, put yourself in the shoes of a 10-year-old. You make a mistake. If you look over at your parent, which lots of 10-year-olds do for reassurance, and they see the parent with their head down, their arms folded, their hands in their pockets with poor body language and looking like disengaged or frustrated with what their child's just done, then that's ultimately going to put this pressure and negativity on that child. So as a parent, you have to be on the sidelines, encouraging, smiling, looking supportive to your child, because when they look over to you, it's so important that they feel that in that moment. And then beyond the pitch, beyond the grass, I always talk around the car journey home. I watched and listened to a podcast that you did with a previous guest, and he was talking around the way in which you can stop your children from playing video games is by stand on their shoulder and dictate what they do, wait till you're in the car journey on the way home, and then debrief the whole thing. It's so true. And as a parent in that car journey home, it has to be a safe space. If the children want to talk about it, then you can be there to listen and ask probing questions and ask questions about how it made them feel and those types of questions, but don't critique their performance, because that ultimately is just going to put added pressure on these young children.
When is the right time to quote unquote critique? Like if we're like our kid's coach is with them, let's say 2 to 4 hours a week, plus a game on the weekends, maybe a little bit longer, but we're with them a lot more. We're at home, like we see them, we have that relationship. So how would you advise parents? Like, what's that right balance of like, no, I do see something in my kid. They could work on this, but I don't want to overly criticize. How do we walk that line?
I think the best things to do are to make your praise, your focus, all based on effort. Ultimately, that's how you're going to coach and teach this growth mindset. And that is so important for any young athlete, any young child that wants to go on to excel, not only in sport, but across all walks of life. Because if children can understand the importance of delayed gratification, putting in hard work to see the rewards in the future, if they can understand the importance of trying, resilience, bouncing up and coming back from setbacks, and those types of effort-based associated traits in children, then ultimately that's really going to help them in the long run. Because if you see your child working really hard, scores a goal, if you focus on well done for trying your hardest, that is what will benefit them in the long run, not that moment of that technique or the goal that they've scored. And I think that's one thing that parents can actively look to try and do. If they're going to criticize, then ultimately, for me personally, you can advise, you can offer little top tips, but focusing on effort-based praise is the key.